Get back to the partial switch off of internet during elections.
Honorable Chair, internet was switched off, but in order for us to continue providing government services, government offices had internet, the financial, banking sector and systems had connectivity, and even those institutions that are doing business process outsourcing were connected in order for us to have continuity over the businesses. Were up and running. So in the event that anybody wanted to buy anything from the shops or go to the hospital, the services were available for them to use.
So the internet was only off for the local ones,
for those who are trying to access social media.
For those who are trying to access social media.
No one could access social media. Even if I was in government, I could not access social media, but I could access the services,
the systems,
helping me deliver services to the citizen. Yes.
You said the reason you switched off was because the youth misbehave on internet?
Yes, we needed to protect the image of our country because distorting the image of this country has...
How do elections distort the image of the country?
Not elections, but how...
Because no, we had the internet before elections. When we went for elections, the internet was switched off. So we misbehaved during elections. And for these other days, we are well behaved.
Chair, I think she also has to come out clearly because
yeah, we need to be clear on
this. Service delivery was not even mobile money. We were not able to access money from any bank because even the bank system was disconnected. Yes.
So as you do explain, we want you, Madam, as to the ministers. So we want you to explain to the country how somebody is very well behaved before elections, and when it comes to elections, we misbehave. Which kind of misbehavior is exhibited during elections?
Honorable Chair and members, to the best of financial services were on.
Sure?
Yes.
Sure.
I am sure.
I
am sure. The amount that you are transacting is the difference. But
now let's simplify this. Hajat, was mobile money on during elections?
Yes, it was.
But it should not exceed 500,000. It was not even 1,000. Chair.
No,
I was not contesting. I don't have any issues about governing this country or what. But truth be told, there was no mobile money. We couldn't access even 5,000, even 10,000. It was not possible.
Yeah, it reached a point when it was
some
off
areas,
completely.
you know, the regions are different because, like Chair has already alluded, some places have a special treatment. Maybe that is the case.
So, Honorable Kashonji, for if you have an exceptional case that your mobile money was off, bad access to mobile money, unlimited access to mobile money, but the fact is mobile money was off.
Ma'am.
And PS, yes, Honorable Angula.
Yeah, maybe clarified well. I remember what was happening, especially where I was, and for the transactions that I was involved in. You could receive money and send money, but not access cash. But the movement of the mobile money on the networks was going on, but accessing it, that is what my experience. They send you money, you see it on phone.
But what is mobile money? So you said
so maybe
not
that's why I was asking. She clarifies.
Oh,
she clarifies whether that one was permissible money to keep moving on the network, but not to get out in a liquid form.
Madam PS, the reason as to why we are asking some of these questions is because you infringed on people. That's why I wanted you to explain to the country how was because you said during the time of elections people would misbehave. That is why internet was switched off. And we believe that is the advice you could give the heads of this country, the head of state, and your people misbehave. When it comes to elections, we don't know how to limit ourselves on how we can use the money. So switch off mobile money so that we don't access money. For us, we just want to know so that in the future we prepare ourselves better. We need to be educated on how we should behave during elections when it comes to internet. Advise us about our limits, and also comment on the issue of mobile money. Where you need to consult, you have technical people here. If you have somebody in charge of those services, they should explain, because they are technical advisors. But the country needs to know why internet was switched off. For that, you've told us the misbehavior. You need to inform the country the kind of misbehavior that you anticipated during elections, and why we are denied access to money. Where is the problem? So there are two issues: internet and mobile money services.
Issue of mobile money, to the best of my knowledge, unless if it was a service provider problem, to the best of my knowledge, mobile money was working. And whether money was being able to be withdrawn in cash or not, since we are trying to achieve a digital economy, I believe that allowing money to move digitally is the best way for us. Honorable Chair, when we started, we said that our role is to digitize. And when we are trying to promote digitization, and then
but yes, have you ever gotten any reports? Because we know the fact that for you, the internet was on in office. It was very critical during that time. Did you get any reports about issues of mobile money being offered insufficient in terms of service? Did you get any complaint about mobile money services during elections? And which specific complaints did you get as the head of that institution?
Digitizing. You've never gone out there to sensitize people about digitization. My old mother cannot even see a phone. She just has to ask someone to press for her what to get. And you're talking about digitalization. Even if you're going to do something, let the country know that you're going to do something. You just don't do it out of the blues, and then you come here and arrogantly say, because we are going to digitalization. Digitalization does not mean that you just wake up one morning and dream, and then you boom.
We are fast.
Yeah?
We are fast.
Let us sensitize people. Let us move gradually. Nobody is resisting it. We all want to embrace it. But let's find a way of doing it the right way. Okay. I find it quite disturbing the way you are replying us.
Thank you, Honorable Member. She's, Honorable, I understand Honorable Amero's case. You know, when the pressure that leaders have from their people at times push us to ask those hard questions, but I believe she's moving well. But Madam, we need you to respond to issues of the internet and mobile money, and with clarity. And when did you inform the country that internet is going to be off? Were we told in time, or it was just an abrupt arrangement? Mobile money goes off without, you know?
Mobile money,
That, you know, we seem to have an interruption in such services, so prepare yourselves adequately enough. But you know, you wake up one day, internet is off, mobile money is off. And it is only the bloggers who used to inform us, Uganda, please be prepared, they might switch off internet. We are waiting for the Ministry of ICT to pronounce itself on that. The only defense we are getting is from the minister. No, internet will be on, it will be on. Eventually, it got off. So, do we really have to, do you owe us a service when it comes to informing us in time, in case the service is not offered? So, for us, as representatives of the people, we need answers on those two. Internet, mobile money. For you are saying mobile money was not off. We need you to explain the extent. Where you are not sure, please, somebody else technical should come out and explain those areas. Otherwise, we are not going to go to these matters. And to remind you, audit is both on the services that you render, accountability for occupants of office, and accountability for the funds that you do receive. In any case, we give you money to give services to the people. So that is both audit. Some of your colleagues who are coming here and say, no, that is not part of the audit report. Not. As long as there is a complaint on what is going on in the Ministry of ICT, we shall always ask. So let's get responses on those. because I know you are leaving by 11, we shall leave you to go, but leave these ones answered and we go to other issues.
I think, given that I have labored to explain this far, I will request we have a head of department, a commissioner who sits with the regulator, but I know switching off the internet was a result of issues to do with national security. When there are issues to do with national security, I think some of these announcements cannot be made in advance, because if you determine that there is there are security issues and it is not Ministry of ICT that manages issues of national security, that is our security forces that handle that. However, I will request Agoi, the commissioner who sits on the board of UCC, the regulator, that is directly engaged in regulating communication.
As you delegate the response, do you want to inform the committee that as the Ministry of ICT, you are not aware of whether they will switch off internet or not? You just saw internet off on the day it went off, because you are saying if there are matters of national security, you also just see it come. So could we say that you are also not aware that internet was off?
Honorable Chair and members, like I said, when it is issues to do with national security, we are informed maybe just a few minutes before the shutdown is done. You're informed now, you're given the instruction to shut down. So in that moment, you definitely know, but it is a few minutes, and that is what takes us to inform the public that, we have now, we are going to have a temporary,
Did you inform us of a temporary switch off?
Yes, there was a notice from UCC.
When was that? Which date was that?
There was a notice from UCC. I don't recall the date. I can be able to pick.
The person in charge of that docket.
It was on 14th January 2026.
14th January.
But Chair.
Yes, Honorable Asumani.
Maybe yes, for purposes of directing this matter properly, you the instructions to switch off, so that as a committee we will definitely know who to pursue. Fortunately, from here, we are meeting the police. Is it the army leadership? Is it the police leadership? Is it the IGP? Is it CDF? Who actually gave you that order to switch off? This Chair, maybe we'll begin from there.
Or the answer is also a national.
Not be definitely. There was a telephone call. Or a directive.
It is a classified operation, but you should tell us whether it is a classified operation. Who they have asked, I will not
see security committee that looks at matters of national security, and that is the committee that took the decision that it was necessary for us to have the shutdown of the internet and directed the regulator to do so. And in the event, the regulator communicated to the public.
You said it was 15th, 14th. You need to share that. Whoever is in charge of that docket, please provide us that document.
We shall be able to share the notice.
It was was it 14th, yes, or 13th?
It was started around the by the board.
The notice is dated 14th.
It was started around.
The notice I have is dated 14th.
Hajat, do you know what you should do, PS? There is a person who is directly in charge of that docket. Are you the one who switched off? The person who switched off is with you. Direct the question to the actor, and they will know the dates. And it's not a crime. It was a directive, and you did your part. For us, we need to know when was the switch off, and we shall get. We need it off, because in matters of national security, we've noted that you are directed to switch off. So for us, we want to know when did you switch off, and when was it? When did we get internet back? When did you switch off, and when did you switch us on again? Whoever is in charge of the docket, you just pass the
question to Godfrey Geoffrey Agoi.
Yes, Honorable Asman.
Interagency Who chairs it?
Yes, who is the chair of that very important committee in
Who's called
Stammer?
what?
The security,
Interagency Security Committee.
Sorry?
Interagency Security Committee.
Who chairs that one?
And a Communication Commission representing the Minister of ICT. Some of the questions which are being asked, in my humble view, would have been best directed to the EDUCC. We did discuss this issue of switching off internet at the top level, and we were actually informed that the EDUCC did receive a formal directive from the National Security Council, and we did actually see the letter itself in that respect. But of course, I do not now remember exactly who was the chair and all that kind of thing, but that directive is there, and which actually empowered the ED to subsequently inform the telecom operators in that respect to go ahead and do the switch off. Now the switch off was, I would say, in a phased manner. The most critical was the social media was supposed to go off immediately. The other services we mentioned about the mobile money and others were not supposed to be affected, but unfortunately because of the technicalities and also with the operators themselves, some operators like Airtel, I think, had issues in implementing that directive. So there were issues of mobile money in Airtel specifically, but MTN, I think, had no major issues around that in that respect. So these were actually technical issues which resulted from the directive which the Commission did implement in that regard. So I would request through my peers that most of these questions to do with switching off, and also the other which to do with the advice to the Electoral Commission should actually be addressed to the ED, because he was part and parcel of that committee, and also the working hand in hand with the Electoral Commission in that regard.
The beauty with the ED doesn't work alone. When the ED attends it, and the ED knows that when it comes to matters of accountability of his occupants of office, he comes here to be represented by his peers. So the ED ought to inform the team he works with on what is going on in the institution. It can't be a reservation scheme on his part. That when it comes to matters of switch off internet, matters of how do you advise the EC on the biometric machines, it is a reservation and information known only to the ED. But you must know, as the Minister of ICT, these are very important matters out there in the public. And it would be unfair of us as the Public Accounts Committee for you not to account for your advice, the advice that you give to these institutions. Because for us, when it comes to matters of ICT and communication, it's you that advises the top officers, you are the technical staff. And even you are the ones who advise the ED, is part of you. It doesn't operate alone. So we need to get the communication for the switch off, switch on. Yes, as we sit here before we leave, you will have to give us those documents. The team is, you have a big team here. Some of them even might not have what to respond to. So give them a note so that they can pick that info. The country needs to know why, because you've said it is because some of these agencies like MTN, Airtel misinterpreted the directive and ended up, denying us some services. So we also want to look at the directive and we see whether MTN or Airtel wasn't competent enough to interpret the directive, to know the limits of where they were supposed to, to stop. So the communication we are giving to you as an institution that is in charge of communications and ICT, is the satisfaction of the public on what went on during the electoral period in regard to the transfer of money. To some people that was business lost. That's why we wanted you to be specific. Actually, the reason as why she invited you was for us, she told us it was gradual. Wanted to know when was the first switch off. Yes, Honorable Asman.
You see, it is in 2016. In 2016, mobile money services were disrupted. In 2016. 2021, the same thing happened. 2026, it is happening. At the risk of being speculative, chairperson, 2031 is likely to happen. But I think it is very important for you to prepare the country. But here you have asked for the directive. The National Security Council, according to the National Security Act that this parliament passed, is chaired by the president. So in giving us a copy of that directive, we would want to see a document signed by the chairperson who under the authority of the chairperson of the National Security Council, to avoid, overzealous officers. Because we know people who were on social media later on saying that eventually we've restored internet. They were taking it upon themselves. Okay? So I think it's important that that directive, as you have guided, is tabled here. And for me, as I said, I am interested in individual responsibility and liability. That's why I'm taking this path. And I think it will be important for us to see that directive of this shutdown.
And also to update this team, there were elections, you can really control us. What is so special that comes in after elections? Before, as we went for the electoral period, we were given laws to follow. We were given regulations clearly, even the Communications Act was part of it. And we are given guidelines on how we should behave when it comes to communication. So we shall need to have those documents, PS, for the good of the country. But in future, even if directives are to be given, though, we wanted you to be clear on the dates. The chief on the board, you also don't know the dates because for you read the letters. You are part of the decision-making team. Did you see the dates? When did you give the first directive, the second one, the third one, up to the 10th, whichever the number was? When was the first cutoff?
Chair.
Yes, only.
And when? Because I'm very sure these two processes were done through directives. So as you chair through you, as they bring the document that gave the directive to shut down, they should equally bring the document that gave the directive to open up. So that we contextualize this matter fully.
Colleagues who have just joined, Honorable Sir, former presidential candidate. We don't know your number, what we don't know, but we know.